Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome back to Big 12 Insiders. Man, I don't know. We're going to get into this. We got a good show for you here today, talking a little bit about how ESPN, again, just totally disrespected the Big 12. It's time for a new network, people. It's just time. And then we're going to get into Super Tuesday. It used to be called Super Tuesday. I still call it that. I'm nostalgic. I get it. But a lot of good games in the Big 12 coming on tonight. We're going to cover those. And then something new that we're doing for the show that's on Thursdays. We're going to go over that. So appreciate everybody being here as always, man. Before we get started, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in those comment sections. And as always, hit that notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. So we appreciate you guys being in here. Let's get into this. First things first. You know, last night, the Big 12 got just absolutely emasculated. Just emasculated by ESPN. Now, first off, let me just start by saying I like LeBron. I like Luka. I mean, I understand the hoopla that's going on with the Lakers right now. I get it. I totally get it. But for ESPN to move a game, and it wasn't that we're going to move it because the game got one-sided. The Houston and Baylor game did get lopsided. Don't get me wrong. Totally understand. And sometimes you move things like that. But this was premeditated. They had already said earlier in the day that they are going to move the Houston-Baylor game. It didn't matter what's going on in that game. They were going to move it to ESPNU to put the Lakers game on against the Utah Jazz because it's Luka's first game. And my first thoughts were, okay, I get it. I understand why ESPN is doing that. The NBA is a big partner. This is a big debut. It's a big deal. But just have the Baylor Houston game be on a different channel altogether. Just put it on ESPN2 or something like that. Don't move it mid-game. And again, ESPN can justify it now because at the time the game was lopsided. Okay, but what would have happened if the score was tied? Like if it was a super close game, then what? Oh, we're just going to move this game and move it off of our flagship station so we can show you the Lakers versus the Utah Jazz, regardless of Luka and his debut. We're just going to totally brandish this brand aside. This is ESPN again saying, yeah, we have the Big 12 and they're a part of us, but not really. I mean, we just have them here. And we'll put their games on from time to time, but they're not our conference. We just have a deal with them. It is what it is, which I think Brett Yormark, I think it's even more imperative that starting right now, after that happened, if I'm Brett Yormark, I'm furious. And I'm just like, you know what? It is time for us to just go out and get another partner and make it be ours. And say, hey, ESPN, man, just let us out of this. You don't want us. You don't want us to be here. Clearly, you don't think that we bring any value to you. So since you don't, let's just get out of this thing. We'll go somewhere else and move somewhere else and just deal with it from there. I think it's imperative. The Big 12's got to do something. They can't continuously be disrespected or allow themselves to be disrespected by ESPN. Just can't do it. You can't. You want to be considered one of the big dogs, then it's time to go do big dog things. And that would be telling ESPN to you-know-what and go finding somebody else that's willing to put your games on. So like, for instance, the Arizona-Kansas State game tonight. Now, at the beginning of the year, here's the thing. You could say, well, Kansas State was awful during the season, and they've just now started turning it around. But at the beginning of the year, that wasn't the case. Everybody thought Kansas State was going to be good. Everybody thought Arizona was going to be good. So when the games get aside, this game is on ESPN Plus. Oh, again, slap in the face. Not to mention, it's the best game of the night in the Big 12. The best game of the night on ESPN Plus. Are you kidding me? And I don't want to hear that you can't move things around. You can absolutely move things around if you want to. It's your network. You can do what you want. Don't tell me that you can't move things around. I'm not hearing it. I just don't want to hear it. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, they're going to do what they want. I totally understand. And they have the power to do that. But you're going to tell me that this game deserves to be on ESPN Plus? And I get it. Kansas fans are going to be mad at me for saying this, but I don't care. Kansas is playing Colorado. Why is that game on ESPN2? You could move that around. And I get maybe Kansas, it's going to be a bigger draw. I doubt it. Arizona fans, you don't think they're going to tune in and watch this basketball game? That would be ESPN again saying, well, we know Arizona's in the conference, but they got to prove that they watch basketball. I mean, almost like Arizona fans didn't tune in when they were in the Pac-12. I don't know. I could go on and on about it. I don't know what good that's going to do. I just know that Arizona, Kansas State, and the Big 12 as a whole are being disrespected by this. The game last night was disrespected. The conference is being disrespected. Sooner or later, like I said, Brett Yormark, you got to stand up and do something and say, enough's enough. You're not going to keep slapping me in my face and me not do something. But that's just me, people. That's just me. Let's move on here. Some better things. Now, the game last night got out of hand. It did. The game, to me, I mean, it was 76. I mean, they were up by 25 points, and they allowed them to get back into the game. I get that. 76-65. I want to say that the game wasn't as close as the final score, and that's why I was hesitating to say something, because I want to say that, but is that true? Yeah, probably. I mean, Baylor got back in it late, but look, Houston was up 8 at halftime. They never were really threatened after that. Like I said, they pushed the lead to 25 points. They were hitting on all cylinders. The thing that's crazy is Baylor shot the lights out. I mean, they did. They shot 60% from three, over 57% from two. They got out-rebounded, and they also had 15 turnovers. And when you do that against Houston, you're going to be in trouble. Not to mention Baylor allowed Houston to make 10 threes of their own. They shot the ball well from three, over 40%, 51% from two. When you do that on the road, you're going to get beat. You can't allow teams like that to shoot the ball, and then you turn the ball over. You have 8 more turnovers than a really good team like Houston. They took advantage of it. Houston, they kind of sleptwalked through their game at Colorado over the weekend. They weren't sleepwalking last night. I imagine Kelvin Sampson had a little something to say to those guys. Baylor, still outmanned. You can't play 7, man. You just can't play 7. You got to find at least 8. You got to find 8. And I know injuries are a problem, but a lot of the guys are back. But you got to be able to play 8. You're playing 7, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. So moving on to tonight, look, a couple of good games. Look, this one might be a better game than what you think. Now, Iowa State at UCF. They played a couple of weeks ago. Iowa State was coming off of a loss, and they just blew the doors off UCF at home. But now they're going to UCF, and they are good at home. Or they have been good at home. They've put up some fight at home, should I say. But this is their last stand. This is the Knights' last stand. They went from being firmly in the tournament to completely off the bubble in a couple of weeks. And that's college basketball, especially life in the Big 12. They've lost 6 of 7. They lost their momentum. They got to somehow find it and get it back. I'm not sure they can. Iowa State's got a point to prove. They're getting back, on good ground after losing 3 in a row. They mollywopped TCU on Saturday, and I'm sure their goal is to keep the momentum going. But I think it's going to be a better game. I don't suspect this one's going to be a blowout. Like I said, this is UCF's last stand to say, you know what, we got something to play for here. We got a point to prove. We're better than what we've shown the last 4 games that we've been beaten. So we'll see. We'll see. Utah at Cincinnati. Those Cincinnati Bearcats. I'm back on. Look, I thought they'd be good. They were good early. Then they weren't good early in the conference. I jumped off the train. I told you, and then they dangled a carrot in front of me like I was just some poor rabbit, and I jumped at it. I told you I would take a bite out of the carrot, or at least jump at the carrot. Maybe I didn't take a bite because you're going to pull that string back from me. Please don't do that, Bearcats. Don't do that. Continue to be the team that I thought that you were going to be. Continue to be that. Now, Utah's not going to make it easy. I mean, they just beat Cincinnati 2 weeks ago in Utah. So it's not going to be an easy game. At least I don't perceive it to be. But Cincinnati seems to have righted the ship. They seem to have done that. Guys are starting to play hard. That's one thing that I questioned. I took my cues from our man Chad Brendel, who covers UC for 24/7 Sports. I took my cues from him, and he was like, guys aren't giving all the effort in practice and in games. They're starting to do that now, and it's starting to pay off. So if they can continue that, UC is better than their record. I know that the people say, oh, your record is what it is. I get all of that. But I think UC is actually better than that. They just have to start playing. They had to start playing and giving the effort. Now maybe they are. They got to continue these winning ways. I think they were there at home. And again, next 2 games after this, it gets tough. So this is one you got to win. If you want to be taken seriously, you got to win this one at home. Got to win this one at home. BYU at West Virginia. Now, here's the thing. This is a tricky game for me because BYU, again, is on the bubble. I think they were off of it, and they were in, and now they're back on it. They've lost 2 in a row. They got to get this back. They got to get it going back in the right direction. West Virginia, on the other hand, they had struggled. They had lost 4-6. Again, Tucker DeVries, now they know he's not coming back. I think that's going to help them moving forward just as a mindset of, you know what, he's not coming back. We got to do this ourselves. They're not a necessarily better team without him. Clearly they're not. But the mindset can help them because they know he's not coming back. And now it's just them. It's on them to be able to get this done. So we'll see what happens with this game. Like I said, it's a tricky game. West Virginia is still firmly in the tournament because of their resume. They're still firmly in, but they got to start stacking some wins. BYU's got to do the same because I think after the 2 losses, I think BYU's back on that bubble, and now they've got to start putting some wins together, getting this thing turned around. Again, plenty of time left, but you don't want to wait till the end, and you don't want to, play so down the stretch. The committee looks at that stuff. The last 10 games, what have you done? Well, time for both of these teams to start kicking into gear if they want to get into the tournament. I think both will get in, but this is a key game for both of them. Really key game in Morgantown tonight. As I mentioned before, best game of the night. Next game, Arizona at Kansas State. Both teams are red hot. Red hot. You could say Arizona is one of the hottest teams in the country. They won 13 of 14, 6 in a row. Really impressive wins. They're playing well. They are playing well. Kansas State, on the other hand, has turned their season, literally flipped it upside down after struggling and being 7-11. They've won 5 games in a row, and it hasn't just been cupcakes. They've gone on the road and beaten a really good Iowa State team, just dismantled them on the road. Kansas State playing really good basketball right now. It's basically what people thought they were going to play like early in the season. This is how they're playing currently right now. Maybe even better than what people anticipated. But you look at this matchup against Arizona. Look, Arizona leads the Big 12 in both scoring and rebounding, which is a nasty combination, man. Not a lot of teams lead them in both, but they do. And that's a nasty combination, especially considering how talented they are. Look, they're the better basketball team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you go man for man, they're a better team. But this is college basketball. It's on the road. And we know how emotion plays into it. And Kansas State's playing really well. And when I say Arizona is better, see, the thing that the internet does, if you, Arizona's better, that means I'm saying Kansas State stinks. Absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Arizona, if you go down man for man, has a better basketball team. It's okay to say that. It's also okay to say that Kansas State is really good right now, and they're playing very good basketball, and this game's going to be close. It's in Manhattan. That means something. If it was in Tucson, I would probably feel a little bit different. Either way, I like this matchup. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. I like the way both of these two teams are playing. Heck, Kansas State has played so well. If they win this game tonight, they will put themselves on the bubble. They absolutely will put themselves on the bubble. I just talked about last 10 games. Committee looks at that. Their schedule isn't easy, but they have manageable games. You win this one after just beating Kansas, people will start paying attention to you. And you've beaten Iowa State on the road. They will have to. Huge game for them. Huge game for Kansas State. So going to be interesting to see what happens here. And then last game of the night, Colorado going to KU. Look, Kansas is so inconsistent, but they are coming off of a loss. It's been win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. Well, they lost. Just basically got outplayed in every facet by Kansas State on Saturday. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That happened. But maybe this is a get-right game for them. They're at home. Colorado's winless. Colorado still fights. We saw that when they played at home against Houston on Saturday. They still fight, but they're outmanned, and they're on the road. So I would suspect Kansas can handle this one pretty handily, but we'll see. Like I said, they've been inconsistent, but they're on the right side of the inconsistent play. So maybe this is a game where, like I mentioned before, this is a get-right game for them. So that's what we got the slate for tonight. Should be really good basketball within the conference, some compelling stuff. Remember, our power rankings are going to come out tomorrow. I usually did it in football. I do them on Tuesday. But basketball, because of the way the schedule is on Tuesday, I feel like, always give it that extra day and see what happens and have them out on Wednesday. So we'll have those out for you on Wednesday, like we always do. And then on Thursday evening, a couple of you guys have asked me, hey, Big B, why don't you go live? Go live, take questions, talk to us directly. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take I told you guys, get in the comments and tell me, what you like, what you dislike, what you want to hear, what you want to see. And there's been a few of you that have said that. And I had thought about doing it before. Heck, when we first started this channel, we did everything live. But it was during the afternoon. But I'm going to do it. Thursday night, we're going to start doing lives and just see how it works. Like I said, hopefully you guys tune in, bring questions, bring comments, whatever it is that you like, disagree, agree, whatever it is. But we're going to start doing that on Thursday night starting this Thursday. So make sure you guys show up and show out like you always do, man. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Should be an interesting week for Big 12 basketball, man. So can't wait to see it. Again, thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.